Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm, of course, the Battle Room, and today I'm joined by Alex, Lexicon VGC, Premier Pokemon Coach. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
So today we're going to break down a pretty fun set, in my opinion. We got Luca versus Michael Kelsch, and I brought Alex on because we've spent a lot of time with this team that Michael's using. And honestly, you use something a little bit similar to Luca's team, like a little bit, right? So it's like,
Yes.
I feel like we can add some insight here and break this down because it's also like kind of an insane set. Michael coming back out of nowhere to compete once again, taking a little break, and he's in top 4 regional here. And then we have Luca, who is the world champion, and like they both also got top 4 the same year. And so I think it's gonna be a banger matchup. I'm excited to see what these guys can cook.
Yeah, there was a lot of fun matchups this weekend. A lot of the strongest European players going up against each other. So it's so fun to get to see those play out because they've played before. As far as I've heard, I think Luca came out on top the first time that they played. But yeah, there's just always so many like what ifs. Like what if one of the strongest players in Europe played against one of the other strongest players in Europe? Like they're both like top 5 like. Players in their region at the time, and yeah, getting to see them play at this level of the tournament, really exciting.
Yeah, and two here, like I'm kind of excited to see what Luca's going to do to approach this matchup because I do feel like normally Michael does have some really strong pieces here, specifically that Incineroar with AV, I think is incredible into Luca's team. But at the same time, Luca does have an Annihilate, so we'll have to see how those interact. But you've seen this team 100 times. It's very boring, but it's very, very solid, right? We have the Tail Room mode, we have Golden Go mode, right? It's like, I think of it as like 3 kind of separate like modes, but then obviously they all interact and can be played together. But yeah, you got Tailwind, you got Trick Room, and you have this really focused setup mode for Golden Go.
Yeah, the tricky part about this team is just how many different speed control options there are. Mainly just 2, I guess, but the covering for the both of them can be really, really difficult. On top of that, Golden Go being one of the focus points of this team, you really want to bring your Incineroar against a Golden Go, and Golden Go is so much easier to counter when you can bring in your Incineroar. And a competitive Kilowattrel next to it is going to make that a lot more annoying. You're not really slowing down either of the Pokemon with the Intimidate as they're 2 special attackers, but Kilowattrel going to get a lot stronger because of that Intimidate, and that will really bum you out.
Yeah, and I think also like Incineroar is very good into Ursaluna P2 to an extent, right? Like being able to slow them down, but Kilowattrel helps with that, right? Or it's good in like if you're setting up Tailwind trying to sweep with them, like Incin's gonna be there to slow down. But again, Kilowattrel's just so good here. It's just a demon in Team Preview, and it's just strong enough to actually be useful in game. I think one of the big things here that Michael has that other teams don't is the Shadow Ball Porygon 2. Instead of Ice Beam, I think Ice Beam is really, really good into Dragonite, and Michael's just saying, hey, Dragonite might not be as much of a problem. I still have Golden Go, I still have Ursaluna and Spore, and Intimidate, right? Like, you still can totally beat Dragonite, but it is still,
Right.
I personally wouldn't want to switch, but at the same time, Shadow Ball does give you really, really good matchup into enemy Golden Goes. I think that's one of the most annoying boards if you have a very passive, like, weak 2 Pokemon. You really can't do much to Golden Go, like if you have Incin or Amoonguss P2. Like, you can't do much, but now you can because you have Shadow Ball and Download Boost.
Yeah, that part's really, really cool. And it's helpful against a number of other Ghost-type Pokemon in the format. Basculegion or Typhlosion.
True.
They all can kind of wall the typical Porygon 2 set. So, very helpful against just all the Ghosts.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of forgot how Basculegion does get very, very annoying for Porygon. But yeah, I think this team is just really solid, and it's one of those things like you have so many tools, and it kind of makes sense that Michael would do really, really well with it. But on the other side, Luca's got kind of a crazy fucking team for this tournament. He kind of updated the Kinigawa team, opting to run Annihilate over Flamigo, which I think is a really cool change, and I think probably will come up here, right? Like, this Annihilate is a demon into the Trick Room mode that Michael has, so I don't think he can really... I mean, he could go it if he's going to say he's not leading Ape, but if the Ape is led, the Taunt is so good into Porygon, and Final Gambit is really, really good as well, and the Safety Goggles, so it's ignoring Amoonguss. This thing is just going to be a problem.
Yeah, Luca saw the opportunity to use Whimsicott and Giraffe with instant. No, I guess he never used instant, but yeah, Whimsicott Giraffe, that dual Tailwind Trick Room mode, giving him so many strong options to really pressure the opponent from whatever side, and it can be really, really tough. But I mean, we just talked about how on the other side, it also is Tail Room. Tail Room just kind of proving to be very, very powerful in the Regulation H format, at least towards the end. And yeah, covering for both the fast end and the slow end, a little bit difficult. I think Michael's got the better team on the slow end, so if he could get up Trick Room, he would be happy to do so, and it would probably lead to some strong positions. But as you said, that Annihilate going to be very good at shutting that down. So the problem is Kilowattrel. It's faster than a lot of these Pokemon, but it's not fast enough to set up a Prankster Tailwind or something like that, and you might just get run over offensively before you can do much about it.
Yeah, I've played into like the Whimsicott Typhlosion stuff, and I've used Kilowattrel mode before into it, and like I think it's okay, it's manageable, but you usually are trading, your Sash. The next turn they're threatening an Encore, so it's really, really not great, and it's just kind of hard to navigate that. So I'm very curious to see how Michael's going to do this. I feel like Luca definitely has a very positive matchup here, and we'll have to see how Michael can diffuse specifically the Annihilate. But the good thing, I guess, right, is if Annihilate is being led, you can lead Kilowattrel. It does get awkward, though, because they could Tailwind Taunt your Kilowattrel as a potential answer. So we'll have to see how Michael can navigate this and how he can get value off Incineroar. Because I think Incineroar goes absolutely insane if he can, get it into a good position against a lot of these fire types. And Whimsicott. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think that... like if you're Michael, what are you leading? Do you think you're just? I think I would commit to the Kilowattrel, like game one at least. I don't know. I don't want to feel it out. I don't feel like. I mean, I guess what. This is their second best of 3, so he does have that information, right? Like if depending on how Luca approached it, he could potentially try the Trick Room mode, and we are going to see Whimsicott Typhlosion into Kilowattrel Gold and go.
They did play it earlier in the tournament,
or I thought you said they did.
Oh no, this is just the second time they played overall.
Gotcha. Then I don't know if they played in the tournament, but either way, I do think this is like a safe option for the game one.
But this is where the choice of Terra comes back to bite you. So often we've seen that Golden Go wants to Terra away from a fire weakness into something like water, but then too many Rillaboom out there made it a little bit annoying to run that Terra. So Dragon, really nice against those fire plus grass pins. However, fire plus fairy, quite annoying. This Golden Go, it might be able to take the Eruption, but the Moonblast afterwards, especially this being a Focus Sash Whimsicott, means that it's probably running at least enough offense to make that Moonblast hurt. It survived the turn here, as we see. Eruption only does a cool 35 to 40%, but the Moonblast afterwards, especially with a tick of Life Orb from the Golden Go, gonna be a bit annoying.
We are going to see them make it rain. I do think at least you do threaten like a potential Thunderbolt, but
right.
I don't know. Like getting Encore does suck too, but I think as long as if you force the Encore, I think it's okay. Like I think he's done his job.
I agree.
I personally always love. We're seeing Instant Ursaluna in the back, but I love a good back P2 in this matchup, right? Obviously, I ran a very, very bulky Porygon 2. But I think even still, I think being able to diffuse the annoying Whimsicott or Annihilate and then having the back P2 Trick Room mode feels pretty good. But we are seeing the Instant, which I think is incredibly valuable. Dropping Instant does feel bad. We're actually seeing a Protect from Golden Go. This is actually crazy work. What?
Yeah, this felt like a bit of a, I don't know, almost like a half measure or something like that. Or maybe just going all in on the call and saying that, well... No, I'm just kind of I'm a little confused overall, I gotta say. But maybe expecting a switch or something like that. Michael is very much a player that knows all of the options available to himself and his opponent. And sometimes it comes back to bite him, where he will consider his opponent considering his own option very heavily, or like one of the options that he's going for, and then he talks himself out of it. And I think that might be the case here, because like the play might look a little confusing. I think Michael was probably worried about a very specific thing from Luca, decided to go a bit all in, and it did not pay off.
I guess at least now he does threaten a fake out KO into Whimsicott. It doesn't have Protect, but at the same time, it is a little bit scary, right? Because it is Terra Ghost or the potential Fergraph coming in, and I think that's what we're going to see. Oh no, we're actually seeing Wolf's Incineroar. Okay, sure. We're seeing Incin come in. I think Incin is a good brain. Like, if you can get around the Kilowattrel, and even still, like, having the AV does mean you at least can fight it, like, a little bit if you have to. It makes it a little better. We are gonna see this guy come in, and he's gonna be taking an eruption, dude. This is crazy. Oof.
Yeah, it's a chipped eruption as well. Like, it's not even full health, but I think Luca kind of just showing a very strong willingness to let the Typhlosion do what it does, and kind of leave it up to the opponent to get rid of it at some point. You know, Luca's not trying to overprotect this Typhlosion, just letting it continue to do damage. And the tricky part is, Michael is having to worry about all the other stuff around it, you know, KOing that Whimsicott so it doesn't get a Moonblast off, or so it doesn't get off a second Tailwind later in the game. But the problem is that every turn that you don't kill Typhlosion is another turn you have to tank an Eruption, and that damage is really adding up.
Yeah, I mean, like, he doesn't care, right? Like, he's like, you can have the Typhlosion. He's done his job. Like, after turn 1, he's like, yeah, he's chilling, dude. Like, I guess he protected him on turn 2 a bit with that Encore, but at the same time, he's like, yeah, he doesn't need him. He's done the damage, and every single turn he gets an Eruption off is just more value from him. He's just gonna do this till he struggles, honestly. He really is, yeah, bro. I think he's not gonna switch it.
The tough part is that, like, Incin, it's still relatively healthy here, but yeah, like, we have our 2 fire resists on the field across from 2 fire types, and it still feels like we're just taking too much damage. You know, at this point, we have to worry about Luca having, honestly, any of the remaining 3 Pokemon in back could probably clean this one up. Afari, you know, everything's going to be hyper voiceable because the Golden Go has gone for Terra. The Blood Moon will easily have enough offensive prowess to run through this, or even the Annihilate is going to outspeed the whole team and KO them. I think the part of Michael's game that I liked the least, besides that turn that ended up being a little bit less than ideal when he got encored on the Kilowattrel, was just bringing in this Ursaluna in this game plan. Maybe expecting the Trick Room mode from Luca or something like that, but Ursaluna really wants to have Tailwind for itself without the opponent having Tailwind. When it's the slowest Pokemon, you'd much rather have gone into Trick Room. And Trick Room could have been an option, I guess, just because we saw no Annihilate in this game, but Michael had to worry about it in Team Preview, so it's just such a deadly game to play.
Yeah, he kind of just got it wrong on the leads, but, like, at the same time, right, like, I don't really blame him. The Annihilate does look really juicy, and I imagine Luca may bring it in game 2 if Michael's feeling, you know, a little bit Trick Roomy. I do think the Safety Goggles, too, is, like, this is actually, like, if I saw this in Team Preview using this team, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Safety Goggles, too? Like, what is this, man? Because that set really hasn't been... It's been very good. It has performed in this regulation, but it hasn't been used a ton in recent times, right? Like, it was really picking up near the end of Reg H last time, but since we've played the last 3 months of Reg H, it's just not been there. And this is just an easy U-turn protect, right? Yeah, like you said, the Blood Moon is just going to clean this up. He just needs to set up Tailwind, and Whimsicott is still alive.
Yeah, I think now is the time for that Annihilate to really come out as well, because the Annihilate is just like, I mean, sorry, not the Annihilate, but this team that Michael is using, he obviously has made a very good run with it so far, but it is by no means a new innovation or anything like that. We've seen this team do well. It won Brisbane. It did very well in, funnily enough, the seniors division at LAIC, and a number of people continue to just find success with this team. So yeah, it's definitely not going anywhere. It's been proven to be one of the most stable teams in the format, and so having a nice ace up your sleeves with that Annihilate is really, really solid. But yeah, not a lot to say about these turns because, of course, Luca is just going to Tailwind and KO everything with this bear.
Yeah, I feel like he also played his Whimsicott, like, really well. I think the encore play, like, obviously was a huge deal. Like, Michael just got that turn completely wrong. But at the same time, I didn't hate it because he was able to only lose one Pokemon on that turn. If he goes for Encore Eruption, he can't lose two. So I think it was still a pretty strong game. And then obviously conserving Whimsicott
Right.
to the fake out earlier was really big because it allowed him to just take a, set up that Tailwind in the late game, right? And if he didn't have Tailwind in the late game, he probably still loses, or he probably still, wins the game easily, and Michael still loses. But, he was able to clean it up, played it extremely solidly to just honestly kind of smack Michael in that game one.
Right. Yeah. A second Tailwind from such an offensive team as this one is just the nail in the coffin, of course. But yeah, Michael has to ask that tough question. Do you call Luca going for a mix-up with that Annihilate with some type of more anti-Trick Room mode? Do you go with that, or do you expect Luca to just do the same thing that already worked? The problem for me, I think again, I think if you wanted to run that mode back from Michael, you absolutely can. If you just bench the Ursaluna, I do think that the Guts Bear is just not going to be able to do it if Luca has the Whimsicott, and I don't see a reason why Whimsicott doesn't want to come to this battle. It's got enough value against everything. It's always going to give Luca the speed edge. If you Trick Room with Porygon 2, you have to switch out, otherwise you get Encored into Trick Room. So Whimsicott's got some utility for just about every situation. But we see all in on the Trick Room mode now, and a bit of a mix from Michael here.
Yeah, we see the double duck lead, which honestly, I don't hate. I actually don't hate what Michael's brought here. I actually think this is pretty solid. You can't really lead Instant into this, but I do think this is pretty powerful, right? Like, you have both speed control options, and depending on the way and the flow of the battle, you can easily set up the one you need. And then you also have Incineroar, who's incredibly valuable in the matchup. So I think this is pretty solid for Michael. I think he can definitely win this one. We'll see how he approaches it. We're going to see the swap here turn one. I don't know what Luca's going to be really doing, though, outside of maybe pressing Hyper Voice twice. We are going to see... Ooh, that is a safe, good switch from Luca there. Like, I think, in theory, it should come in pretty safely, unless Michael were to Air Slash the Ursaluna, which is something I think Luca is just totally not expecting him to do.
Right. Yeah, the Porygon 2 got that special attack boost, and so Michael very much trying to stay one step ahead here. That special attack boost, very valuable, but seeing that the Ursaluna's not going to want to stick around for that, and Typhlosion being a very good switch in here, Instant, it loves this board. Knockoff is looking very valuable into the Typhlosion slot. If it Terras, if it doesn't, that's super solid. I mean, Luca also probably pretty happy to have gotten off the Throat Spray Hyper Voice, though. We saw that it did enough to 2-hit KO this Kilowattrel. It's going to hit the Instant even harder at this point, and Instant's HP is probably the most important resource for Michael because of how important it is with that Assault Vest and how many strong special attackers Luca has.
Did he just go for a Tailwind knock? He did. I think if this KOs Fertograph, though, this is actually pretty positive. I kind of like this, but I don't think it's going to KO Fertograph here. Yeah,
it does end up just surviving.
If it presses Trick Room, this could be actually cooked. This could be bad.
Yeah, I have a feeling it probably didn't just because of the Porygon 2 in the back, but let's see. Yeah, even a Hyper Voice is not amazing for Michael. I mean, all the Pokemon not all the Pokemon, but the Instant is still alive, which means it can still go for another attack here. But yeah, now the question is, what does Luca have in the back? Instant, a very good bring most of the time. Whimsicott would be very nice for Luca to be able to reverse sweep with Tailwind on of his own, but yeah, the momentum is I would say mostly in Michael's favor at this point, but that last Pokemon could definitely change things for Luca's end.
He has to win during these 3 turns, or he has to do enough damage, or the 3 turns are really important, and then he also has to make sure that he's either set up Trick Room to win, or that he can just kind of trudge through with the bulk of Ursaluna and P2. This turn is a little tricky. I think I would switch to P2 and self EQ here if I'm faster than Typhlosion. We actually see Whimsicott. That's nasty. That is kind of a free switch, though. Okay, the U-turn solid. What did he do? He went for Headlong or Facade?
Headlong, yeah, just headlong. Honestly, Michael clicked probably the most straightforward option available, and I think that's totally fine, totally reasonable. Whimsicott, what I like about the Whimsicott swap here is there's no way for Michael to take a double knockout because of the focus sash on the Whimsicott, like outside of going for a very insane Flare Blitz into the Typhlosion plus EQ. And that's not a play that you think Michael would be doing in most situations. So it's very risky, especially with the Fari having Protect available to it. So Whimsicott gets in safely. The tricky part is that both of these Pokemon are at full health. Ursaluna at -1 defense, so it'll definitely die. -1 special defense as well. It'll definitely go down to the Eruption here. But the Porygon 2, it can definitely tank a hit. Problem is, if you protect your Ursaluna to survive the Tailwind Eruption, to get up a Trick Room, well, then you'll have to switch out because the Encore pressure. It's just so brutal. It feels like there's no real way out of it. You have Shadow Ball, which we talked about earlier, being a bit of a better option into the Typhlosion. Typhlosion does go for Terra Fire, though, which kind of immediately negates it. And if I remember correctly, Michael does go all in on this turn here. And goes for the... Oh, no, I'm thinking about later. Maybe a different situation. I thought that he had Terra Fighting blasted into that. But...
That'd be an insane play. But I
thought he did. Maybe. All right, go ahead.
The tricky part here is too, like, he just doesn't have enough resources. I've been in this situation, like, genuinely, like, 30 times. And every single time, it's usually in the lead or something, right? It's very rarely in the mid game because he's not able to press. Oh, he did Terra Blast though. He
did Terra Blast it, just not Terra Fighting Blast. But yeah, same thing.
But yeah, he just doesn't have like the resources to be able to double switch. He's in this awkward position with the, like if he was able to bring in Instant safely, if he could tank an Eruption, like you could just switch to Instant Trick Room. But you're not able to do that because he doesn't have enough HP, right? So now this is just the freest Encore. I mean, well. You don't even have to Encore. You can do whatever you want. I think this is... Like, I just think is the Blaze boosted Terra Fire Eruption enough to pick up the -1 Ursaluna? Probably, right? So you're able to just press Eruption again and probably just... You could probably just Moonblast, right? Like, there's no...
Or Sunny Day. Sunny Day is also available.
Yeah, Sunny Day.
I don't know if it's quite in Blaze range, actually. It's really hard to eyeball from here. But... Yeah, we do just see the Sunny Day Eruption come out, and this part, I've seen this one before, and it's actually just quite amusing. Yes, the Ursaluna's at -1, but still, that's just Eruption from, like, a 30% something Typhlosion, and it's still getting the double knockout here. Insane. It has every multiplier available to it. It's got Terra, it's got Sun, it's got Choice Specs.
Yeah, I mean,
and to think that even if Ursaluna had survived that, which seems like the slightly more likely Pokemon to survive, you probably still lose to the Blood Moon in the back. Just crazy how much offense was being thrown around at every single opportunity.
Wow, it's actually kind of insane. I talked about the Ape so much because it is so good in that team. Like, that is one of my least favorite Pokemon to see. But it just didn't get brought. He just destroyed him without the Ape, which I think is really funny. But yeah, he had it as an option if Trick Room did get out of hand. I think Michael was bringing, I think it kind of came down to play, in my opinion. I think he just messed up some crucial turns. Because he did, I think, bring the right Pokemon. I did like his Game 2 plan quite a bit. But it just wasn't able to pan through. I think there was just some, you always have to be planning for those eruptions, right? You always got to be slowly figuring out how you can combat him if he comes in next turn. And I think Luca just kept getting really good eruptions. Like the first game, he got way more than he probably should have because Michael disrespected a bit. And in game 2 there, he got the crucial ones he needed, right? He got the big one on a P2, and then he got the Sun Blaze boosted crazy one onto the Ursaluna to one-shot it.
I do think the word for this strategy that Luca kind of employed against Michael is overload, basically. Like, Incin just had too much responsibility on it for this matchup. It could easily tank a Hyper Voice from the Farigiraf. It could take a Eruption from Typhlosion if it needs to. But with Luca having 4 strong special attackers coming to every battle, Incin can't be the one to tank every single one of those hits. It can't. It will. It has a limited resource in its HP. The only way to get around that, of course, is like Pollen Puff from the Amoonguss. But Amoonguss, not really happy to be sitting in front of eruptions or anything like that.
No.
So, yeah, just not really able to live forever. And everything else, as we saw, was kind of just falling over to these special attacks. Ensign, the only one able to survive, but it's just one guy. Like, it's just one guy. It can do a lot, but not all of it.
Yeah. I think in this matchup too, like, he never got the Ensign, like, it usually was faking out or switching into tank hits, right? And I don't think you can really lead it because of that threat of Annihilate is so large. Because it's so good into both the Trick Room mode and an Ensign lead. So I think it was difficult because of the team preview to lead Incineroar. But had Ensign just got a really big knockoff, right? And like, had he got that KO into the draft, you know, maybe he's got a shot, but unfortunately Ensign was just, like you said, just taking too much damage, and I just don't think he was dealing much damage back. And like, he can switch and take hits, but he also needs to deal, and I just don't think he did in that matchup. So Luca just kind of took that one cleanly. I think he played it really, really well, because I do think you're right. Like, it also, I think the word overload works too with like the team preview, right? Like, there's so much shit you have to respect. Like, I wasn't even thinking about Farigiraf or Ursaluna, but that was a great lead, and it did cause a lot of pressure onto the P2, and it created this. I love the way he played it too, like switching into Typhlosion turn 1, because like any of the hits they threw to that Ursaluna, Typhlosion would tank, and the Farigiraf was basically absorbing the free pressure that Ursaluna was, you know, like taking, and Farigiraf's like, dude, I'm just gonna spam Hyper Voice and get into just deal some good damage. And so I think it was just like really overwhelming for Michael to get all the turns right when Luca can kind of play however he wants.
Yeah, exactly. When we were talking about how Trick Room would have been devastating for Michael from the Giraffe, and it just hyper voiced the Ensign down to like 2%. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't even maybe the best possible play for Luca, and it still was very strong. You know, he just no pressure from Luca to get everything 100% right.
I like the way he played it too, because like, he didn't need a trick because he did have that tailwind in the back, so he just kind of was able to just do whatever he wanted. And shout outs to Luca for just playing that so well. It's fun to see like two really, really good players, and like, honestly, I think Luca really dissected him and kind of destroyed Michael in that matchup. So it was cool to see at such a high level, right? Like, because you think Michael's unbeatable, he's so good, he's in top 4 of a regional, but Luca made him look like a chump, dude. He kind of swagged on him.
A little bit. I mean, there's elements where when the best of the best, because these are two players that have proven the ability to go all the way time and time again. Sometimes you got to learn, like, you know, the matchup edge as well, because I definitely think that there was a bit of an edge in Luca's favor there, just because, as we were saying, Michael might have been able to win if he got every play 100% right, but Luca did not need to get the plays 100% right and was still able to rack up incremental advantage. And that's I mean, that's what the building side and team selection side of Pokemon is all about, is picking a team that you think is going to be giving you an edge against stronger players, because, you know, nobody wants to play a even matchup against another player that's like one of the strongest in the world. You want to have an edge, and Luca absolutely had the edge there. You know, so a very good team choice there for the tournament and for coming out on top in that matchup against Michael.
Yeah, and it's very true too. Like, one last thing is that, like, you know, Michael came in with a pretty standard, well-known team. So it is like Luca coming into this has an advantage because he's played this matchup before. He knows what he wants to accomplish in it, where Michael hasn't played against the Ape version, which I think is a pretty significant change from the Flamigo version, which I also think is hard. So I think it's one of those things, right, where he has the advantage, he's the world champion, and he's playing incredibly well. This whole tournament, he looks so dominant. So congrats to Luca for bringing it home. Also, if you guys are interested in some VGC coaching, Alex here can provide that for you. I can link down below if you want to get coached. We're coming into Reg F once again. And also with Champions, it's a great time to be coached and to get better at the game.
I did technically win the first Regulation F regional.
Technically, so. You did. Technically. You just straight up did. About it. It sounds like someone was DQ'd or something insane that you like.
No.
You cheesed the win, bro.
I did win the first. I know. The reason I put it technically in there is it feels like the least relevant regional when it comes to understanding the Regulation F metagame, but I got it at the start. And so yeah, that's just funny.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, I got top 4 at that same regional with your team. So I think, if you want to get coaching right again, this is a place to do it. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Alex, for joining me. We'll see you next time.
Peace out, peeps.